Let me tell you what my deep research and basically vision is.
I hope there's Bigfoot. I don't think there is.
I'm not telling you nothing.
The aliens won't let it happen.
Happening now, breaking.
Bernie Sanders is angry.
Bears beats Battlestar Galactica.
What are the tips? Give me some tips on how to work with Wes Anderson.
Be ready to speak very fast and very clearly, because that's definitely one key thing.
I will only tell the truth.
Until you and 6 kids you barely know in wet bathing suits have surrounded 9 chimpanzees outside of a Wendy's. You probably really don't know yourself, okay?
Yep. And we back.
Hello and welcome. You're listening to your new favorite podcast and the best in political, sports, and paranormal news coverage. I'm your host, Wes Anderson, and this is In the Shed. This is episode 78, so whether you're back for more or finding us for the first time this week, hey, thanks for tuning in. It is late Wednesday night, September the 4th, and I'm in a shed in the backyard of my home in Alabama. Also, I can hang out with you tools and talk about the latest headlines, stories, and rumors in the world of politics, sports, and the paranormal. Our guest tonight is host of the Cerebral Chaos podcast and In the Shed with Wes fan favorite, Timothy Doaty II. Doaty, thank you for joining us once again in the shed.
Man, it's always a pleasure to be back in the shed with the tools, man. You know, it's been a while. It's been too long. Both probably my and your fault. But guess what? We here, man, and we ready to talk some football, one of my favorite things. So I'm excited. I'm ready to go. I hope the tools are ready.
We're talking some football. This is our In the Shed with Wes Anderson NFL preview extravaganza, and we're going to break it down. Doaty and I are going to tell you what's going to happen this NFL season before it even happens. We're clairvoyant. So, Doaty, let's just jump right into it. Let's give our top 10 quarterback rankings going into this NFL season. I'll give part of my rankings, and you respond with yours. And I'll just let you know. Go ahead.
Can I give you a disclaimer?
Please.
Now, when you told me about this topic, I thought about top 10 quarterbacks at the end of the season.
Okay.
So my top 10 is more of where I think they'll finish, and I think that gives us a good in-between. You're going to do start. I think I did mine more so of how I think these quarterbacks will end the season, and my 10 and 9 are automatically hot takes and a part of my hot takes. So just for clarity, I'm not saying starting week 1, these are where these guys will end, but I'm going to say by the end of the season, I think this is what the top 10 quarterbacks will look like.
Fair enough. Doaty's quarterback rankings are where they will finish. Mine is more going into the season where I think they rank. So Doaty at number 10, I have Aaron Rodgers.
Ooh.
Aaron Rodgers. What do you what do you have to say about that?
Look, if we're talking about talent, you know, Aaron Rodgers' talent has always been undeniable. You know, I think more of his concern has always been, you know, the how does he perform in the big games? Is he a great teammate kind of deal? But I mean, I think Aaron has something to prove. I wouldn't put him on my top 10 quarterbacks coming into the season. You know, he missed all last year. I got some questions about how he's going to hold up. He's a year older. He's a year rustier. You know, but just God-given talent, of course, I think you have to talk about him in that conversation. But for me, I'm not putting Aaron in my top 10.
And I get that. You know, that's why I have him number 10, because he is coming off of a whole season that he missed after just one play because of injury. Even when he's been healthy, he has not thrown for 300 yards in a long time.
That's what I was going to say. I think his last – I mean, you know, we got to put this in context, right? So his last year in Green Bay, that wasn't the MVP season, right? It was the year before the MVP season.
Correct.
If I'm recalling. So his last year was the kind of, hey, old man, can you get out of here so we can get Jordan Love into, you know, this position? So that's why I say, to me, I think Aaron has something to prove, because there were a lot of people that were ready for him to get out of Green Bay. I think he has a lot of doubters on being this God-given quarterback who's only, with all his talent, only won one Super Bowl. So I think Aaron has a lot to prove. Now, you talk about top 10 players with something to prove. I think Aaron Rodgers is high on my list. But as far as my top 10 quarterbacks, I'm going to hold off on Aaron right now. And he may come back to bite him, but I'm going to hold off on him right now.
So I have Aaron Rodgers at 10. Who do you have at number 10?
All right, now let me preface this. Again, these quarterbacks are guys who I think will end the year in the top 10. In my top 10, my 10 is going to start with Caleb Williams. I'm going Caleb Williams at number 10. We'll get into that a little bit later. It's part of my hot takes. But I just think the talent we're talking about with Caleb Williams is evident. I think he can make every throw on the field. I think his receiver core could arguably be the best receiving core in NFL. When you talk about Keenan Allen, you talk about DJ Moore, and you talk about Rome Odunze, who's a fantastic rookie, who's going to have a fantastic year. I don't know how an NFL team guards all three of those guys. I think if they can give Caleb some time and protect him, obviously there's going to be some rookie mistakes, there's going to be some rookie blunders, but I think if he can go into the season level-headed, if he can handle the pressure of being the savior of Chicago, if his offensive line can give him time, I've got little to no doubt thinking that Caleb Williams will end the season as a top 10 quarterback.
And I can already tell we are going to be at odds, which makes for a good episode. Because
exactly, you got to have some back and forth. So tell me what you seem like you have some static here. What's the hold up?
Not only do I not have Caleb Williams in my top 10, I would not have selected Caleb Williams as my top quarterback in the draft. I get them picking him at number 1 just on his talent alone. I'm not saying he's not going to be a good NFL quarterback, but I would have gone with Michael Penix or Bo Nix if I was looking for an NFL-ready quarterback.
Wait a minute, Wes. You had me until you pull out Bo Nix and Michael Penix.
I'm just saying.
I didn't give you Michael Penix somewhat, but don't give me Bo Nix. No, not number 1. No.
I had Michael Penix, Bo Nix, Jaden Daniels, and then Caleb Williams. Those were who. That's what I was looking at on my draft board. That's why I'm not.
That's why you got to call me, because your quarterback rankings on the draft were terrible.
Look, Caleb Williams was a phenomenal college quarterback. He's got a lot of talent, arm talent especially, athleticism. My questions about him are, can he fit the ball into tight windows? He didn't have to do that at USC a lot. He was throwing to wide open receivers.
Man. Look, Wes, I respect your opinion, but I wholeheartedly disagree with Caleb. I don't think there's a question about Caleb Williams' physical ability. I think all the questions we have about Caleb Williams is, how is he going to project as a leader? How is he going to handle things not going his way?
Right.
How is he going to handle the rookie lumps, the rookie bumps? But you're talking about between the lines, between the dotted lines out there on the field. I don't have any questions about whether Caleb Williams can make throws.
There was no pocket discipline required at USC. That's all I'm saying.
I agree.
That's all I'm saying.
Look, I won't argue with you that he played a bit of Superman and sandlot ball at USC, but I don't think that's going to be an issue for him translating, because I think as far as, he's going to throw, so he's going to have some off-platform throws. So does Mahomes, so does Aaron Rodgers. I'm not comparing him to those guys. Those guys are proven. But what I'm saying is he has the ability that they do to make off-platform throws. So we're not talking about him having to be perfect on every throw, because he compensates for that with his ability to make those throws. So I think if he has the ability to make any throw on the field, I don't think he's going to have an issue fitting it into tight windows. Now, is there something that he's going to have to learn, how to throw to a covered receiver, because you're not going to be wide open in the NFL? Yeah, that's true. That's going to come along with those rookie bumps that I'm talking about. But if you give me every quarterback in the NFL, and I think if we do the Pro Bowl skills challenge, I think you'd be surprised to see where Caleb Williams is going to finish in the game, where we're talking about dotting the I, hitting the bullseye. I think you'd be shocked at where Caleb Williams would end.
Okay. Well, we're starting off strong. We'll see what happens. I think Caleb Williams in year 2 and 3 will be a very good NFL quarterback. I don't have him in my top 10. You have him at number 10. At number 9, I have Detroit Lions quarterback Jared Goff. What say you?
Okay. I do have Goff on my list a little higher. No problem with Jared Goff being top 10. So I agree with you. I think the placement's a little off, but I'm fully on the Jared Goff is also one of my hot takes later on too, just to give you guys something to sit on.
Good. I'm looking forward to it. Who do you have at number 9, Doaty?
Now, if you got upset with number 10, you're definitely going to get upset with number 9. So I think by the end of the football season, I think the number 9 ranked quarterback, when you take totality into the situation, I'm not saying, hey, these guys are going to have top 10 stats. I'm just saying you'll look at these guys and say, this guy is this good. I'm gonna go another rookie here. I'm gonna go Jay Daniels, number 9, in my quarterback rankings by the end of the season.
2 rookies.
I think 2 rookies.
Wow. That's strong.
2 rookies.
That's strong.
I feel very, very strongly about Caleb Williams and Jay Daniels. I think we'll look back on this quarterback class a few years later, and we'll have 2 franchise, really great, top contending MVP caliber quarterbacks out of Jay Daniels and Caleb Williams. And I think the transition for both of those quarterbacks will be little to no issue and almost seamless. Will they have issues? Absolutely. But I'm banking on Jay Daniels' ability to make every throw on the field. I'm banking on his ability to be mobile, which is a very, very big factor in today's NFL. And I'm banking on his ability to give you 2 to 3 splash plays every game. Now, I'm a little biased. I was an LSU fan. I saw this guy play in person. I saw the improvement that he made from his junior year, where we weren't sure if he needed to be on the field, to his senior year, where he won the Heisman Trophy. So I think there's a natural progression there. I think you got a hard worker. I think you got a leader. I think you got, again, someone that can make all the throws. I think you got someone that could run for 40 yards on any given time, any given play. You got that ability. I'm believing in Jaden Daniels' dynamic ability to just show and prove why he's one of the best quarterbacks in the NFL by the end of the season. So that's my second one. No more rookies on this list, but I really believe in Caleb Williams and Jaden Daniels. So, tools, if you're listening, go put money down on Jaden Daniels and Caleb Williams this year.
So you're saying you don't have Bo Nix in your top 10?
Bo Nix is not in my top anything.
Look, I have a lot of faith in Jaden Daniels. I think he's a phenomenal quarterback. I was about to ask you, so that our listening audience would be clear, which college team you rooted for, but you already admitted to it. You already said it.
Oh, yeah. I'm an LSU fan to the core, born and raised in Louisiana, so that's who I am. But I will say I tried to make these decisions just based on objectivity. Now, I really do believe in Jaden's ability. If he would have went to Florida and did the same thing he did at LSU, I think I'd feel the same way. So
okay.
This is not totally my Tigerish speaking here, but I'm just really banking on the talent between Jaden Daniels and Caleb. Look, the NFL is about a lot of things, but I think at the end of the day, it boils down to the talent of the guy in the pads. Now, and I think Caleb Williams and Jaden Daniels have top-tier talent. Now,
agreed.
Will that make me look crazy at the end of the year? We'll see. But, that's just how I feel.
We will see. And number 8, I have Jordan Love.
Jordan Love didn't make my list.
Okay, not at all.
I will say Jordan is very impressive. I do think in the near future, Jordan Love will be a very, very good quarterback. My concern with Jordan Love is, does he have that extra oomph to be a great quarterback? I think he'll have a phenomenal career. I think he'll have a 10 to 15-year career. I think he'll be a quarterback for the Green Bay Packers the rest of his career. But I wonder if Jordan has that extra gear in his skill set. And it's not a knock on him. By no means am I disrespecting him. He's an NFL. I'm not. I'm here talking to you. But when you're comparing him to all the other quarterbacks on, these lists and just talent-wise, I do wonder if Jordan Love has that extra oomph when we're talking about 3rd and 8, everything's on the line. Can he make this throw? Now, I think he has the talent to get there, but right now I'm just not sure. He probably would have been in my 11. If we would have went to 11, he probably would have been my 11.
Okay, fair enough. And I think, Jordan Love, the second half of last season was a top 10 or 12 quarterback in the league.
Very impressive.
He really improved over the course of the season. His team made the playoffs and destroyed Dallas on the road. I think the Packers will be improved. He's got weapons and an offensive-minded coach. So I have him at number 8. Who do you have at number 8?
Number 8 is probably going to be another surprise to a lot of people. But I'm banking on this guy here this year if he can remain healthy. I believe in the weapons around him. And he's also going to be a part of my hot take. So number 8, I'm going with Kyler Murray over in Arizona.
Kyler Murray at number 8.
Yep.
Really?
I'm going Kyler Murray.
2,
Absolutely.
You're leading off.
Look at Kyler's stats when he came back after last season. Look at Kyler's stats when he was with Kingsbury. Kyler has no problem putting up numbers, man. Kyler's already been a talented quarterback. I think the issue around Kyler, specifically the last couple of years, is once you take DeAndre Hopkins out of the equation, he didn't have a number 1 receiver.
Sure.
Well, I think they have that problem solved now with Marvin Harrison Jr. I believe in Trey McBride. They're athletic, super good-looking tight end. I believe in their running game between him and James Conner. I think they're going to be a problem for people to solve, especially down in the goal line. And, this is another thing where I'm banking on talent, man. I'm big on talent. I believe Kyler is dynamic. I believe he can throw very well. Doesn't have the strongest arm, but I think Kyler is very accurate. And I think Kyler is dynamic with his legs, man. So I'm going to go with Kyler number 8.
Are you aware that Kyler Murray is 5'4" tall?
I am. I actually think he's probably like 5'2".
And he plays
when he's out there, man. He looks like he's playing against some 4th graders sometimes.
Doaty. He's 5 foot.
The guy is talented.
He's 5'4", and he plays in a division with the 49ers, the Rams, and the Seahawks. You have him at number 8.
I have him at number 8, man.
Wow.
I'm banking on Kyler this year.
I am interested to see if we agree on any of these top 10 at all.
Probably won't.
This is
won't.
fun.
I think the rest of my list won't be any surprises to people.
Okay.
It'll be the normal names. I think we'll just be squabbling over positioning here.
Okay.
But my 10, 9, and 8 were some good picks for me and some talent-based picks.
Oh, you have definitely started off strong with your 2 rookies and then Kyler Murray.
Absolutely.
At number 7,
watch it. Look, we got to do
a follow-up.
A quarter season review, mid-season review, and then the season review. We'll see where we are.
We will autopsy this thing after the season, for sure. At number 7, I have Justin Herbert at quarterback. What do you say?
No. I'm not on the Herbert train this year.
No.
Isn't he injured as well, too, going into the season?
I mean, he's injured sometimes, but he's okay.
Yeah, Justin is a great quarterback. I'm just not sure how he's going to perform in Harbaugh's system. Harbaugh is a run-first kind of, offensive coordinator, offensive-minded guy. I think the numbers that he put up the past few years where he was throwing for over 4,500 yards and all those touchdowns. And again, who's he going to throw to? Mike Williams is gone. Keenan Allen is gone. Who's he throwing the ball to? I know quarterbacks can get away with their talent on themselves. Look at what Mahomes did without Tyreek Hill. But I think I don't know who is the Chargers' number 1 receiver.
No idea. Some guy from the Piggly Wiggly.
Yeah, and I think they got Lamb McConkey too, right?
He's in Los Angeles.
I feel like they don't have any weapons for Justin to throw to give you top 10 performance. Is he a top 10 guy on talent? Probably. But I literally don't know any of his receiving weapons for him to throw to.
I don't either, but here's the thing. Jim Harbaugh makes quarterbacks better. What he did at Michigan with J.J. McCarthy, making him a top prospect in the NFL draft when I don't even think he was all that great.
That's what I was going to say. I disagree with J.J. being a top
for sure.
But I just disagree there.
I think Harbaugh makes rosters better quickly. I think that he's going to – I think actually the fact that he has a run-first offense is going to benefit Herbert because he's not going to be expected to do as much. I think it's going to actually unlock his ability in some way, that he's going to be kind of kept under control, and not in a negative sense, but to be more of a game manager in a positive sense. And I think he's going to have a big year this year. I have him at number 7. Who do you have at number 7, Doaty?
Real quick before we go on, but see, that's my worry with Justin. Is he just going to become a game manager? And I think him becoming a game manager takes him out of this discussion potentially. I don't think we can describe anybody on the top 10 quarterback list as a game manager. That's just my opinion.
Fair enough.
That's what I think takes him out.
Fair enough. I hear that, but I think that the thing that we haven't seen from Justin Herbert so far, we always hear about how talented he is. talent alone, he's a top 10 quarterback, but he never makes the playoffs or wins games. And I think that's what changes under Harbaugh, which allows him to be included in this discussion.
Possibly. Yeah, what Jim did with Kaepernick a while back. I mean, he's a quarterback guy. I mean, if you're a quarterback, he's a coach that you want to play for. So I get all that. But my number 7 is going to be somebody we already talked about from your list. Number 7 is where I'm going with Jared Goff here.
Jared Goff at number 7. Give me your reasons.
I think, Jared had a phenomenal year last year. He had several phenomenal years with the Rams. I think Sean McVay kind of probably their relationship was weird to me.
Right.
Jared put up the numbers, but I think for some reason Sean McVay still did trust him, and I think he lost confidence in himself. We have to remember, if you remember what Jared Goff was coming out of college and how highly thought of he was, I mean, I could say he's probably delivered on that from a stats perspective as far as what was expected for him. I believe in Detroit. I'm going to make, when we get to talking about our picks, we'll talk about that later. But I'm a big believer in their team. I'm a big believer in the offense. You got Amon-Ra St. Brown. He's got Sam LaPorta, who was an awesome rookie last year. You got Jahmyr Gibbs in the backfield. You got David Montgomery back there as well. They got a phenomenal offensive line. I mean, I think he has all the keys to make some big-time noise this year.
Yeah, and I can't disagree with you. I thought about moving him higher on my list. I think he's a solid quarterback. I think he fits their system. And like you say, they've got a lot of weapons in Detroit.
Yeah, and I didn't even talk about Jameson Williams either. Jameson Williams over the top as a deep threat. I mean, they got weapons to play with for days.
Absolutely, and their coach is crazy, which is fun.
I like him, man. I like him.
Dan Campbell, bite their kneecaps. Is that what he said?
Yes. Now, coaches I want to play for, Mike Tomlin's number 1 on my list, but Dan Campbell would probably be 2.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, so at number 6, I have a quarterback playing in a contract year. I have Dak Prescott at number 6.
Oh, no, Dak's not on my list. And shout out to Rain Dakota Prescott. He is a Louisiana guy. I always go with Louisiana guys, but I'm not falling with Dak on top 10 this year.
Dak Prescott is not in your top 10.
Dak Prescott is not in my top 10.
Oh my goodness! I think I think he's a top 10 NFL quarterback. I think that he gets far too much blame playing for the Cowboys that we talk about all the time, even when they're not any good. I think he's playing for a contract. CeeDee Lamb just got his deal. I think he's going to have a big year. He's going to make an impact. He's going to win games, and he's going to get re-signed to a lucrative contract.
See, my thing with Dak is Dak going to put up good numbers in the regular season? Probably. But we've just seen this song and dance so many times from the Cowboys, the way they get in the playoffs and they don't do anything. So I think for that reason, Dak would have probably been 12 on my list right after Jordan Love. He'd probably been 12 on my list.
But see, I think that's more of a Cowboys thing and more of a Mike McCarthy thing than a Dak Prescott thing.
It could be. I won't fight you there, but I do think there have been situations that Dak has been presented in the playoffs where those situations where he's in the regular season where he delivers, he hasn't always delivered in the playoffs on those situations as well. And it's a team game. It's not all on him, but I think there's been some instances where he has fallen up short, and I think he's done that more than once.
And that's certainly true. I cannot argue with that. Nor am I a Cowboys fan. But I do have him at number 6. Who do you have at number 6, Doaty?
I'm going same division, crosstown rival. I'm going with Jalen Hurts at 6.
Jalen Hurts at number 6. Okay.
Yeah, I'm going Jalen Hurts at 6. I still have some questions about the arm talent, and I'm a big fan of Jalen. Jalen's probably the only player that ever attended the University of Alabama that I cheered for. So I'm a big fan of Jalen as a player. I think he's a football player to death. The question about Jalen is the throws. Is he going to be able to make the throws that need to be made in the crucial situations? We're talking about the 3rd and 8s again, the 3rd and 9s with the game on the line. Can he fit the ball in the window to get the throw done? For me, that's the only question about Jalen. Phenomenal leader, phenomenal football player. He can use his arms and his legs to be a threat. He's a load to bring down once he gets going. But I just think, can Jalen make those throws when they need to be made is going to be the only question. Actually, him and my next guy are kind of the same, but my number 6 is going to be Jalen.
Let me answer that question. The answer is no. No.
This is still a question for sure. It's very much so a question.
I think
the Eagles are going to be a phenomenal team. I think they're going to win the division. I'll spoil that. I don't think you can have, they've had success the last couple of years. It's just been at a point in the season they hit this kind of wall for some reason. I'm not sure what that is or what that's about, and just never can carry the momentum that they have when they're hot into the playoffs. I'm not sure if that's a Jalen thing. I'm not sure if that's a coach thing. But I do have questions. I have some questions about Jalen. There are a couple quarterbacks on this list that I don't have questions about, namely my top 2. But Jalen's still one of the guys I have questions about. Are you going to make those throws in the crucial situations?
Listen, I'll tell you, I agree. I think the Eagles win the division. I think they have one of the 3 best rosters top to bottom in the NFL. I don't believe in their coach. I think their locker room was a disaster last year. Even when they were winning, it was a disaster. And I think Jalen is a player who I root for. I really like him. I'm an Auburn fan, but I like the guy. I think he played well above his capabilities for one season, and then I think he regressed to the mean. And I think that he's an average to above average NFL quarterback and won't be that great again. That's just my opinion.
I would disagree on average. Do I think he's elite? No, but I think he's above average. I just think with what you can get with the arm talent and the legs. I mean, we're talking about somebody that could. I think Jalen could give you 3,000 passing yards. I think Jalen could also rush for 1,000 yards as well. If they ran their offense that way, they don't really do it that way. They got more of a power, short yardage time kind of run game.
Right.
But I think Jalen is phenomenally talented and gifted. But I'm with you. Those questions they arise about, can you make the throws when you need to make the throws, man? So that's why he's at 6 on my list and not higher.
I would have him, I think, 13th to 16th, somewhere in there.
Wow, you don't have him in the top 10 at all?
No, I don't.
Interesting. Okay.
I don't.
So you're taking Dak over Jalen in the NFC East.
All right. Well, I think the Eagles actually have the better team. I think Dak is the better quarterback.
Let me ask you this. So if you think the roles were reversed and you think Jalen was on Dallas and you think Dak was on Philadelphia, do you think the Eagles would be better?
I do. I do.
Cool.
Well, at number 5, I have Brock Purdy.
Oh, my God.
Brock Purdy, number 5.
Mr. Irrelevant. Okay.
Do you hate that pick?
I hate that pick.
Tell me why.
I'm not knocking Brock Purdy. I'm not going to bang the table for system guy, but I'm going to hit it one time and say system guy.
Okay. I get it. For a long time, people said that Tom Brady was a system quarterback.
Let's I know there's superlatives that we can go all day with the draft position and all that with Brock Purdy and Tom Brady, but let's not disrespect Tom Brady by putting him in the same sentence with Brock Purdy.
Listen, Brock Purdy wins. He's a winner.
I'm gonna tell you what I think about Brock Purdy.
Go ahead.
If Brady was to come out of retirement right now and wants to come to the 49ers, Brock Purdy has to hit the bench. 45-year-old Tom Brady. 45-year-old Brady. If Brady is ready to go and say, I want to come back today and play for the 49ers, you taking Brock Purdy over Tom Brady?
Yes.
Okay. I mean, I got questions about it, man.
Today I am.
Quarterback that I have some of the most questions about.
Only today am I taking
players around him.
Yeah.
Can he make players better as a quarterback? Is he a system guy? He does well for what's asked for him.
He does.
Distributor. He's Steve Nash on the Phoenix Suns. Get the ball to Amari Stoudemire and Sean Marion and everybody else, and you get 15 assists a game. So I'm not knocking him, but when you're talking about top-tier quarterbacks, I don't think he needs to be anywhere near the list.
Well, first of all, Steve Nash won 2 MVPs with the Suns.
He did, and one of them should have been Shaq's, but we ain't gonna get
okay.
That's a different look. We can get the NBA one down the line because I'll get down a rabbit hole on that one.
I think, Look, yes, Brock Purdy is in a system that is beneficial to quarterbacks. He has one of the best play callers in the game and his head coach.
Yes.
He's got weapons all over the field, but somebody still has to get him the ball. And in the Super Bowl last year, I know they didn't get it done, but for a large portion of that game, he outplayed Patrick Mahomes. That's why I have him at number 5.
Look, Brock has had his moments. I'm not going to take anything away from the guy. But again, I'm going to fall back to when we're talking about the elite quarterbacks. These guys are the type of players that can raise the level of the players around them. They're not necessarily dependent on the system. You can plop them in anywhere. Sure, the offenses will change, but I'm banking on, we're talking about a top 10 quarterback. I think that guy can get the job done anyway. I don't think Brock Purdy can get the job done anywhere. You know, this is the same system that made Jimmy Garoppolo look great as well.
If you
see where Jimmy is now.
If you put Brock Purdy on the Eagles, you don't think they're better?
Heck, you almost made me cuss. Heck no, I don't think so.
I do. I really do. I really do.
No, I don't think you're ever going to win a game because of Brock Purdy as a 49ers. But I don't think Brock Purdy's going to be the one that wins you the game. He won't lose it either, to his credit. We're talking about a top 5 guy almost, because we have that extra oomph that everybody else doesn't have on this list.
Well, my guess is Brock Purdy is probably a listener to this show, and he's going to hear you say this, and he's gonna have a phenomenal season just to spite you.
Well, look, Brock, I'm a huge fan. Again, man, you playing in the NFL, I'm just some guy who never made it past college. So, you know, by no means am I disrespecting. Please come by and talk to me on Cerebral Chaos. We can go back and forth about your play. I'd love to have you come sit down and talk to the Chaos family.
Yeah.
But no disrespect. You know, we just disagree.
Okay.
Wes is a little bit more gung ho on you than I am.
I'm on the Purdy bus. I think he's a good quarterback. Who do you have at number 5, Doaty?
Number 5, I got the reigning MVP, Lamar Jackson, at 5.
Lamar Jackson at number 5. You are killing me.
Yeah.
You are killing me.
Similarly to Jalen Hurts, I'm a huge Lamar fan. You can go back and check my Facebook post on the day that Lamar Jackson was drafted. I said that it would be a grave mistake for all the teams that did draft him, and that he would be a very successful quarterback in the NFL.
But you have him at number 5.
I got him at number 5. Yeah, I got him at number 5. When we get into this top 4, maybe one guy, I'll maybe rearrange my list on the fly, actually, because I want to be consistent. The top 3 guys on my list, I have no questions about can they make every throw on the field. No questions about the killer instinct. I don't have any of that questions. Everybody else besides those top 3, I have questions on can you make the throw when it matters. And that's the same thing for Lamar. Like I said, I've been a huge Raven supporter, and I wanted him to succeed to make me look well, and I love his game. But every year, you know, the Ravens are, they win the AFC North, and then they get into the playoffs, and Lamar loses. So can Lamar get through that hump? You know, he's won 2 MVPs at this point. I think Lamar has to put it together in the playoffs to where he gets over that hump and gets the Super Bowl.
That's certainly true. I think he's a lot better than number 5.
Sure. I'll give you that he's better than Jalen, for sure.
Okay. All right. Well, at number 4, we have not agreed on anything yet. I think somewhere in the top 4 we're going to have at least one in common. But at number 4, I have Josh Allen.
Oh, this is the one where we're going to agree.
Really?
Josh Allen at 4.
You have Josh Allen at 4.
Now, before my last statement, I literally had him at 3. But again, I want to be consistent. So I'm going to swap the guy I had at 4 to 3, and I'm putting Josh Allen at 4.
Okay.
Same questions with Lamar. Phenomenally talented, he has the arm talent to make every throw on the field. But my question again for you is, when the rubber meets the road in the playoffs, when are you going to come through, Josh?
I think that he has and would have come through, except for that he's had to go up in the playoffs against a generational talent and one of the greatest quarterbacks of all time. If you take Patrick Mahomes out of the equation, Josh Allen's already been in the Super Bowl.
Well, you know, I'll make an argument for a guy at number 2 who I'll say would have 2 Super Bowls right now if it wasn't for Patrick Mahomes.
Okay.
But you can make that case for every quarterback in the AFC. You know, I just talked about Lamar. Lamar always loses to Patrick Mahomes. And oddly enough, they open up the season tomorrow.
They do.
Against one another. So I agree with you. Josh Allen has as much talent, that you can have in a 6'5", 240-pound, 250-pound quarterback body. He gets a little erratic and sporadic sometimes with the turnovers. I didn't like all the turnovers last year.
Sure.
I don't know what that was about. I need to see a little bit better ball security from him. I need to see him take it a little more serious, like just taking care of the ball. I think he has that condition where he's just so physically gifted and talented that he thinks he can just wheel Buffalo to whatever by jumping and flipping in the air or running somebody over.
Right.
I just need him to be a little more careful as a quarterback and realize that he's the franchise and Buffalo has to have him to do what they need to do. But I really don't have any other questions about Josh other than what are you going to do when you come up against Mahomes?
And I think that the turnovers were largely, in my estimation, about him trying to force the ball into the hands of a number one receiver that was not happy and is no longer there. So, I think people are low on Buffalo this year. I think they're going to be fine. I think Josh Allen is an exceptional quarterback. He's the white Cam Newton is what he is.
Yeah, Buffalo's going to be fine, man. I think a little of that was a disconnect between Stephon Diggs and him, sure. I'll give the other half to Josh just thinking that he's Superman. For good, for better or for worse, it's not a bad thing or an indictment. But I think that's why you see some of the turnovers is because he thinks he can make the play every time, which I admire as a quarterback. But you also have to have that recognition that we don't need you to make the play every play. Sometimes we just need you to take what the defense gives you and let's move on to the next play.
And I agree with that. So we both have Josh Allen at number 4. At number 3, I have Joe Burrow.
Ooh, close but no cigar. Tell me why you got Joe at 3.
I think that Joe Burrow is one of the quarterbacks in the league that I have the least amount of questions about when it comes to his ability. He's a complete gamer. He can make all the throws. He wins. He has outplayed the best quarterbacks in the league in the biggest moments several times. He's taken a franchise that was dismal without him and resurrected it overnight. He's won everywhere he's been where he's been a starting quarterback. I'm a big fan of Joe Burrow. I think he's the third best quarterback in the league, and the only reason maybe that I have him 3 and not higher is because he's coming off of an injury. You never know how long it's going to take a quarterback to get back into the swing of things, what effects a lingering injury may have. He's had a rough go when it comes to injuries, but for that reason alone, I have him at number 3.
I'm interested to see who the heck you got at number 2 and you got Joe at number 3. Okay, but my number 3 is going to be, and I wasn't a fan of this guy coming out of college, but what he did last year, I've got so much faith in this guy.
Please don't say C.J. Stroud. Oh, my gracious.
C.J. Stroud.
Oh, my gracious. C.J. Stroud. I felt it in my bones.
C.J. Stroud, man.
I felt it in my bones. I knew you were about to say that.
I think he can make, and again, I was not a CJ fan. I would have taken Bryce over CJ coming out of college, but I would have been wrong, just like the Panthers were. Again, I think he displayed a little bit of what he could do in the game against Georgia, and everybody was like, where has this been? We knew he was a great quarterback prospect, but him stepping up and playing so well, even though they lost against Georgia in college, he just literally transitioned back to the NFL, man.
Right.
I think he's a great leader as a rookie quarterback last year. Steady. The game never seemed too hard for him. He never really seemed to get flustered. That didn't mean he didn't have bad games or bad moments, but you never saw that rookie jitter from him last year. Now, does that mean he'll hit a sophomore wall? Maybe. But going into the season and coming out of the season, I got high expectations for C.J. Stroud. I got high expectations.
Doaty, man, you're killing me. You got 2 rookies.
CJ's not anywhere on your list? Anywhere? I
had C.J. Stroud in contention for the 10th spot. I ended up putting him at 12.
You got to give it to CJ instead of Aaron Rodgers.
Listen, C.J. Stroud had a phenomenal year last year.
Yes.
I don't argue with anything that you said or any point that you made. he was far better than any of the other rookie quarterbacks. Should have been the number one pick overall. And I root for him. I root for the Texans. DeMeco Ryans is one of my favorite NFL head coaches. The way that those two have turned things around is awesome. But he's only started one season in the NFL.
I know, man.
One season.
I saw all I needed to see, man. I really did see all I needed to see. If Lamar didn't do what he did last year, you could have made the case for CJ winning the MVP in his rookie year. He was that good last year.
Look, their roster is good.
I think the team got better because they added a true number one in Stephon Diggs. You still have Nico Collins there. You got Tank Dell, who is a dynamite of a slot receiver that nobody's going to be able to do anything with. You added Joe Mixon in the backfield to give you some run game. I love the Texans. We'll talk about this in our division thing, but I love the Texans this year. Buy hard on the Texans this year.
That's fine. We're going to keep.
I think CJ could be a dark horse for MVP this year.
Wow.
Not a dark. I should have said dark horse because he arrived last year. But if I'm betting on somebody to win it, that's not necessarily one or two on the list right now. I'd be hard pressed to find someone else I'd put money on other than CJ Stroud.
Wow. Well, look, I hope he has a great year. He's phenomenally talented. I root for him. I just think the NFL teams have had an entire offseason to watch tape and to adjust. I think that he's going to have a slight, not major, but a slight sophomore slump and regress a little bit. And I still think he'll be a top 10 quarterback moving forward. I don't have him top 10 this season.
Yeah, well, look, part of that is natural just because of the sophomore slump, right?
Right.
But I think that's why you go and get somebody like Stephon Diggs, a veteran who's done it, who's been there and done that, been there on the big stages in Minnesota, made big plays in Minnesota, made huge plays in Buffalo. You go get somebody like that to help make this process easier for CJ. And I think now's the time where they can load up and give everybody weapons before the obvious quarterback salary new contract comes. I think Houston has a real chance to capitalize on CJ Stroud's talent.
Okay, we'll see. Well, just by you putting him at number 3, I already know who your top 2 are. That's fine. At number 2, Doty, I have Lamar Jackson.
Okay. I can't fight you. I'm not going to fight you on Lamar. I'm a huge Lamar fan. I'm not going to fight you for having him at number 2. No.
Reigning MVP. Had a terrific year last year. Obviously, the playoffs did not go as hoped. I think they have a real chance to be even better this year. I trust their coaching staff. I trust their GM. I trust their defense. I think that they've added weapons for him. Bringing in Derrick Henry should take off some of the load and some of the pressure from him. I expect him to be even better this year. I have him at number 2.
Again, my question for Lamar, can you beat Patrick Mahomes? Other than that, nothing else on Lamar. I need to see him perform at an MVP level in the playoffs. I know he can. I have faith that he can. But I need to see him do it. But again, I'm not going to fight you for having Lamar at number 2. I would take Joe over him, but I'm not going to fight you for having him at 2.
Well, listen, my question for the rest of the 31 teams in the NFL is, can you beat Patrick Mahomes?
Yeah. I mean, we can use that for everybody. But I think he's been the one that's had to bear the brunt of it. Him and Joe have been, and Josh, the 3 of them have been the ones that have had to face him head on the last 3 or 4 years, and have, none of them have gotten him except for Joe. So yeah, I agree with you. Mahomes is the big bad bully standing at the end of the hall waiting on everybody to come give him the lunch money. So somebody's got to take him down. I think somebody's going to get him this year.
We'll get to that in a minute, and we'll see if we agree there, which tells me that at number 2 you must have Joe Burrow.
Yeah, Joe, absolutely number 2. Again, this is not me as a homer. I saw him in 2019. I saw them play live in that phenomenal season that LSU had. I would argue the greatest college football team and season ever. You talked about it, man. I mean, coming in and doing what he did in Cincinnati, it can't be underrated. I mean, we're talking about a franchise that was in the doldrums and had no inkling of even being close to winning anything.
Yep.
And here we are 3 or 4 years later after he's been drafted, and they're a perennial top playoff team and a Super Bowl contender if he's healthy. Now, that's the only asterisk on Joe is can you stay healthy? He's gotten injured every year except for the one when they went to the Super Bowl. Every other year he's been injured. So can he stay healthy? If Joe can stay healthy and play 17 games, I won't spoil it, but Cincinnati's going to go far. If he can play 17 games fully healthy without any injuries, he's got Jamar Chase, one of the best receivers in the world.
Maybe.
He's got T Higgins, who could be a top receiver on most of the teams. I am a little worried about their running game a little bit. I know they got Zach Moss, who's a dependable kind of backup guy normally. Maybe he steps up. I think Joe Mixon is a little bit of a loss for them there. And the offensive line, I mean, they have tried to do different things, and they just can't get it right. Some of it is Joe holding on to the ball, wanting to make the big play because that's just how he is. But I think you talked about it earlier. Joe Cool, man, he's got ice water in his veins, and you give me one quarterback with the world on the line with 10 seconds to go, I want Joe, even over Mahomes. I know it's blasphemous. Mahomes has proven it, but I want Joe.
And I won't fault you. You know, Joe Burrow is one of the best quarterbacks in the league. I had him at number 2 last year. The injury bothers me a little bit. The contract stuff with Jamar Chase bothers me a little bit, but not enough.
They'll get it done though. They have. You mean you have to?
You have to.
What are you gonna lose? You gonna let Jamar Chase walk? No, they're gonna get it done.
Now I will say the only thing I'll quabble with you at all about what you said. I think Joe Burrow had the second best college quarterback season in history.
Oh God.
The first,
man.
you know who the first was.
I just don't know how you beat 15-0, 60 touchdowns, a Heisman Trophy. They beat 6 or 7 ranked teams that year. I don't know how you top it.
You top it with Cam Newton in 2010, who took
number 2, man.
Who took an Auburn team that had only one other NFL player on the roster, and who led the SEC in rushing as a quarterback. Won the Heisman Trophy and the national championship, Cam Newton.
I'm not going to fight you on Cam. Cam will be my number 2 season ever that I saw with my own 2 eyes. I saw Cam Newton beat up the SEC by himself with just him and Nick Fairley on the team, and that was it. I saw Cam Newton play LSU and run all over us when we had one of the most dominant defenses in the conference. He was dragging Patrick Peterson into the end zone on a play. I got nothing but respect for Cam Newton, but give me 60 touchdowns, give me 5,000 yards, give me the most explosive offense in college football history.
Well, I made one game in 2010. My sister had bought tickets for my birthday for her and I to go before the season began, before we would know that Auburn was any good at all. It was against LSU at home.
Oh, man. Yeah, he went off that game. Yeah, he was another world in that game.
And that was a good LSU team. I think LSU was like ranked 4th in the country. Auburn was like 6th. We were both undefeated. One of the best games I've ever been to.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Well, I think we both have the same quarterback at number 1, which is probably no surprise, Patrick Mahomes.
Yeah, as much I'm not a Mahomes hater, but I just never like cheering for the guy that everybody likes. So
right.
I'm not a Mahomes person. I'm usually with whoever is trying to take him down, whether it be Joe or Lamar specifically, those two. But you can, I mean, how can you knock him? You know,
how can you?
Super Bowls. I mean, can make every throw on the field, can make every throw when you need him in the Super Bowl, can improve players around him. They took his weapon away in Tyreek Hill, and he had probably one of his better seasons as far as distributing the ball to different receivers, being a little bit more careful. I mean, what can you say about Patrick Mahomes? He's already one of the best quarterbacks to ever play in the NFL, and he's still in his 20s.
He is. And, you know, like you say, he did it with Tyreek Hill. He did it without him. Last year was his and their worst season, and they won the Super Bowl.
Right,
so,
right.
I mean, what else is there to say?
I think he grew so much in that season because he wasn't so dependent on Tyreek making the big play. I mean, he still has that somewhere with Kelsey. You know, throw it up, Kelsey's going to make it happen. But I think he always had that, let me just throw it as hard as I can in my back pocket, and I know Tyreek will run under it. So he had to do a little bit more of the intermediate stuff, the in-between, the you know, especially here in the top 2, for sure. I'm going to give you, that's why I say I got no questions about Patrick and Joe. both of those guys make everyone around them better.
Right.
And Patrick did that, proved that last year without having really a true number one. We see a rookie like Rashee Rice come out of nowhere and play like a number one in big-time games. I think a lot of that is because Patrick Mahomes. And he has the ultimate cheat code of Andy Reid being his head coach as well. But I'll tell you this, and it's a little off topic, but it's on topic. Patrick Mahomes in his last year at Texas Tech played against LSU in the bowl game. And me and my dad was watching that game, and he threw for like 500 yards that game. And he was making all the Mahomes throws that you see now. Yes, he was doing that in college. I saw it with my own two eyes. Andy Reid knew exactly what he was looking for. But I was saying, who is this Patrick Mahomes dude? He's just, I mean, he was literally doing everything he's doing in the NFL, the behind-the-back throws, the no-look throws, the off-balance, off-platform throws, the in the air and throwing them. He did all that stuff in a bowl game against Texas A&M in his junior year. And I was just shocked to see who this guy was. And then looking back all these years later, the talent was always there. So I say that to say nothing you can say about Mahomes. He's clear the number one guy until somebody knocks him off the pedestal.
That's right. And you know, at the risk of sounding like both of us are saying we knew before everybody else, I will say that I watched the man play 2 of those 11 o'clock kickoff games when he was at Texas Tech, and I was like, this is an NFL quarterback. I don't know who this guy is, but he is going to be great.
I had never heard of him before that game. I mean, I was literally calling my dad, like, who in the world is this Patrick Mahomes guy, and where has he been? Like, why is he at Texas Tech?
Right. So we only agree in the top 10 on number 1 and number 4. Everything else we disagree with. We're going to put it up on Twitter over at In the Shed with Wes, Twitter account In the Shed 4. And we're going to ask our audience which list is better, Doaty's quarterback rankings or mine. We'll see what the people say, Doaty.
Now, you got to remember, I think my list will look better than yours at the end of the year.
All right.
I think yours may look better than mine now, and it's easier to go with. But I took some gambles, man.
You did. I'll give it to you. You definitely took some gambles. And I still think Brock Purdy is fine. I think he's fine.
Which one of my picks out of the top 10 was the one you disagreed with the most?
The one I disagree with the most, probably C.J. Stroud being so high.
Really?
Yeah, probably C.J. Stroud.
So I could get you to bite more on Caleb Williams and Jay Daniels being in the top 10, and Kyler more so than C.J. at 3. Yeah, because C.J. wasn't on your list, so that would make sense.
If you put him at 10, 9, or 8, or even 7, I probably would have no argument. But because he was number 3, that was the biggest one that I disagreed with.
And obviously mine is Brock Purdy with you. But CJ made a believer out of it. Hey, I'm going to be low-key cheering for the Texans this year.
I don't blame you. Well, let's switch to this. We've got some bold predictions for the NFL season. I've got 7 bold predictions guaranteed to be wrong. I'm going to hit you with them and get your take, and then we'll go to your 3 bold predictions as well. I can already tell a couple of these you are going to hate, which is great. So
I didn't read them. You sent them to me, and I was like, nope, I'm not going to look at them because I wanted to hear them right here and now. So I didn't look at any of these before.
Perfect. So my first bold prediction is that the Jets finish behind both the Bills and the Dolphins in their division.
I can buy that. Yeah, I can buy that. That was not that bold to me. I mean,
doesn't bother
you. I think Buffalo's going to win the division. I think Miami easily could be a wild card. So I don't think that was that bold. Now, you said they're going to finish behind the Patriots. Now we got a bold take.
Oh, yeah, no, that's not happening. The Patriots are terrible.
I think that's where, I don't have the numbers in front of me, but I think Vegas will probably have them somewhere around 3rd.
I don't know. I think they're favorites. I think they're the betting favorite in the division.
Oh, no, then people are crazy.
Yeah.
Then they're just trying to take everybody's money because they're not going to be better than the Bills for sure, and probably not the Dolphins.
Okay, we agree there. My second is that the Atlanta Falcons win 11 games and make the playoffs.
We'll talk about that one later when we talk about our division winners, but I don't hate it.
Okay. I think Kirk Cousins is definitely an upgrade on anything they've had lately. They've got offensive weapons at running back and receiver and tight end. I think they brought in a couple of key defensive pieces in the offseason. I like the direction they're headed in, and they play in possibly one of the worst divisions in the NFL.
No, it's the worst in the NFL.
Okay, well, either that one or maybe the AFC South with the Jags, Texans, Titans, and Colts, but you wouldn't say so because you love the Texans.
Yeah, I got the Texans and the Colts better than everybody in the NFC South.
Okay, I hear you. All right, so far you don't have any problems with my predictions.
Nope.
Let's change that right here. I have this being the first losing season as a head coach for Mike Tomlin.
Definitely disagree there. No, I've never been against Mike Tomlin. I said it a little earlier. If I could play in the NFL and choose my coach, I'm going to play for Mike Tomlin and the Pittsburgh Steelers. He hasn't had a losing season ever. I don't know why this year would be the first one.
Let me tell you why.
I'm not a huge fan of Russ. I'm not a huge fan of Russ.
Well,
so maybe that's part of it. But
let me tell you why.
If Russ is bad, Justin Fields will get him 8-8.
Let me tell you why. Because
okay.
Russell Wilson is bad now.
He is.
Now. And Justin Fields is worse.
No, I'm not buying that. I'm a big Justin Fields guy. I think with the right offensive scheme and coaches, it's just too much untapped talent there. It's all untapped. I'll give you that, but his ceiling is much higher than what Russell can give you right now.
Justin Fields is an NFL player. He's not an NFL quarterback.
Well, I think with the right mentor, coaching, OC, quarterback coach, I think there's untapped potential there with Justin Fields.
Okay.
I think he has the arm to make the throws. He obviously has the legs to ran for 1,000 yards a couple of years ago.
Sure.
I just think he hasn't. I mean, Chicago. But if he would have had this regime that Caleb Williams has in Chicago, with how they went in and got him all these receivers. I mean, they got him DJ Moore last year, but that was just the first year of them being together, and he did look better in spurts. I think he had some injuries that messed him up last year. But if I'm Pittsburgh and I'm a Pittsburgh fan, I want Justin Fields to play because I've got the ability to at least do a little more with Russ. I think Russ gives you the ability to go 500, but I don't think he'll be any more with Russ.
Well, I think probably Mike Tomlin is my favorite NFL head coach. He's never had a losing season, which is remarkable. Yeah. He had a winning season with Kenny Pickett at quarterback.
Right.
But I think that changes this year. I think they win 7 or 8 games. I think they have a losing season. I just don't think that they have enough talent on the field. And at the end of the day, no matter who your head coach is, eventually it's about the Jimmies and Joes and not the X's and O's.
Would it shock me if they went 7-9? No, but I think that would be the worst it would get.
Yeah. Okay. Well, you're going to hate the next 3 out of 4 at least.
Okay.
We're going straight from Mike Tomlin having a losing season to the Chargers making the conference title game.
Hell no. Hell no. I'm sorry. Heck no.
As a wild card team.
I'm way down on the Chargers. I talked about it earlier. I don't think the Michigan game plan is going to work in the NFL. I think you're going to have to be versatile and throw the ball. I think Justin Herbert's going to suffer from the offensive scheme. I think he may be a little more careful with the ball, but I don't think you think Herbert's going to be able to beat Joe Burrow, Patrick Mahomes, Lamar Jackson, C.J. Stroud. He's going to take down one of those guys, and I don't see it.
I think he's going to beat Josh Allen in the playoffs.
I don't think so. I think he might be smoking something over there in the shit.
I might be.
He on that ashwagandha that Aaron Rodgers died on.
The ashwagandha. Hey, it helps you sleep at night, is what I've heard.
Whatever it is.
That's what I've heard.
It was something. I don't know what it was, but ashwagandha, yes. I actually take ashwagandha, so I don't know why I said that.
Okay. All right. Well,
whatever drug he went to take.
He went on a retreat. I forget. He also had a silence retreat too, which is something I could never do. Would be terrible for content. But anyway, I have the Chargers making the conference final game, and one that you will hate even more than that. Prediction number 5 out of 7: Caleb Williams does not win the Rookie of the Year.
Well, I don't hate that one. I got a Rookie of the Year as one of my bold projections. I don't have Caleb winning.
You don't have who now?
I don't have Caleb winning Rookie of the Year.
Oh, okay.
My Rookie of the Year take is one of my bold takes.
Okay. All right. Prediction number 6. This is the last year as a starter in New York for Daniel Jones.
Oh, 100% agree. 100%.
I don't know that one is even that bold, other than the fact that his contract is lucrative.
Right. Yeah, I never liked that deal from the beginning. I get it that if you think you got a quarterback, you have to pay him, but I don't know why they thought they had.
Right.
Daniel Jones he's a serviceable potential backup guy. But I think if he's your quarterback, I don't think your ceiling is very high as a team.
I agree, and I think that it could result in a complete change in New York quarterback, head coach, and GM. We'll see. That's my prediction number 6. And the last one, the one that you will hate the most, the Texans, your beloved CJ Stroud. The Texans missed the playoffs.
Nah.
They missed the playoffs, Doaty. They don't make it. They don't make it. They don't win the division, and they don't have the best good enough record to be one of the 3 wild card teams. I say they missed the playoffs.
I got a couple of takes that involve the Texans, but I don't see how they're not better than the Colts or the Titans or the Jaguars. If they aren't better than those teams, then they've had a failure of the season.
Trevor Lawrence.
No, I ain't believing in sunshine. No.
Trevor Lawrence, who checks in at number 18 on my list.
Yeah, he's another one that is time to put up or shut up.
Yeah,
I was never into the hype that he got out of college. I mean, his best game was his first game when he beat Alabama.
Right.
After that, I think everything else was a little bit of mid to downhill. Again, he has talent, and he's a lot more athletic than you give him credit for. I like Brian Thomas Jr. over there as a deep threat option. But I don't really like much else. I have Travis Etienne on my fantasy team, so I hope he goes off this year.
Tank Bigsby.
As far as them being a better team than Houston, I just don't see it.
Yeah, it's gonna. Travis isn't gonna have that great a season because a lot more carries are gonna go to Auburn's Tank Bigsby.
I hope not. I like Tank.
Yeah, he's a good player. Yeah, I have them missing the playoffs because I think that they take a step back. I think the other teams adjust to them. I said it was 7 bold predictions. Their roster is good. I believe in their quarterback and their head coach, but I just have them missing the playoffs. So, Doaty, hit us with your 3 bold predictions for this NFL season.
Now, I apologize. I told you I was going to do 3 when I was right. I added 2 more. So
okay.
I got
even better.
So I'll try to go through them quickly.
Even better.
One we already talked about. Caleb Williams and Jaden Daniels will both be top 10 quarterbacks by the end of the season. We already talked about that one. My second hot take is Derek Stingley Jr., cornerback for the Houston Texans, formerly of LSU, will be the best cornerback in football by the end of the year and get Defensive Player of the Year votes.
Defensive Player of the Year votes as a rookie.
No, this is his 3rd year.
Oh, I'm sorry, his 3rd year. Oh, Stingley Jr. Okay, yeah.
Yeah, Stingley.
You think he's going to get Defensive Player of the Year votes?
This is the year when he will arrive. I think people that know football know about him. You know, he has some really good Pro Football Focus grades last year. From a physical standpoint, he's 6'3", run a 4.3, 220 pounds. He's what you want a corner to look back like if you built him in a lab. I think this is the year where he becomes a household name. I think he'll be the best man-to-man corner in the NFL. I think he will have such a great season that he will receive at least 1 Defensive Player of the Year vote.
Okay. I mean, I don't hate it. I think that he's supremely talented. And anytime I can have a corner that's 6'3", I'll take it.
You won't like my 3rd one. You won't like this one. I already know. So my 3rd hot take is that the Arizona Cardinals will have a top 10 offense by the end of the year.
The Arizona Cardinals.
The Arizona Cardinals.
A top 10 offense.
I told you I'm in on Kyler. I like Marvin Harrison Jr. I like James Conner. I like Trey McBride. I think I'm eating the sauce on the Cardinals being one of the better offenses in the NFL.
Doaty. I need some ashwagandha.
I think Aaron Rodgers like Ashwega or something. Ashwega, whatever he was smoking over there. So maybe I need some of that too.
I don't know. Look, Kyler Murray has had some good seasons. He's put up some good stats. To me, his stats have been empty. I don't think that he makes his team better. I don't think that they have a complete roster. I don't believe in their defense. I don't know that they have much in the way of a running game that's going to be sustainable. I don't think that the Cardinals. I think that they're at the bottom of the NFC West, which we'll get to shortly.
Ooh, You wait till we get to the division takes then. So I'm going to have another one.
I wholeheartedly disagree with that take.
All right, hot take number 4. Jared Goff, dark horse MVP.
Okay, I actually like that. I like that. I think the Lions are going to be good.
I think the stats will be there. I think Detroit will be good enough. I think it just depends on, does Mahomes or Lamar Jackson or Joe Burrow, C.J. Stroud, one of those guys who I think will be one of the top 4 or 5 quarterbacks, do they just kind of knock him out of the equation? But I think when you line up his stats at the end of the year, I think his stats will be some of the best in the NFL.
And I can get behind that. If one of the guys you mentioned, Patrick Mahomes, Lamar Jackson, Brock Purdy, or Joe Burrow don't have an MVP season.
Oh, you and this Brock Purdy stuff. Okay.
You're making me into
I can assure you with all confidence that Brock Purdy will never receive an MVP
Never.
in his career.
Never. Okay. Brock Purdy versus Jared Goff MVP votes. Should we take a bet right now?
Maybe you can post that on Twitter as well.
All right, look.
They call me now, but I'm taking Jared Goff.
If Jared Goff wins an MVP before Brock Purdy, you win this bet. If Brock Purdy wins an MVP before Jared Goff, I win this bet.
Well, you won't win because I ain't worried about Brock Purdy winning on MVP.
All right, we'll see.
And then my last hot take is going to be Offensive Rookie of the Year.
Okay.
I'm going with Malik Neighbors from the New York Giants, formerly from LSU.
A lot of LSU love.
Absolutely.
Okay.
I think you're talking about one of the schools that produces some of the best talent in the NFL, so it's not any surprise. But truly, I think he's the only weapon in the New York Giants offense. He took him number 6 overall for a reason. I think that they're going to feed him the ball a lot, so I wouldn't be surprised if Malik Neighbors finishes the year with 125 targets, 85 catches, 1,200 yards, 10 touchdowns. And I think that's enough to do with it this year.
1,200 yards as a rookie, 10 touchdowns. That'd be a great season.
I got faith in him.
I think he was one of the couple of best receivers in the league. In the draft this last year, I really do. He was great in college. I think he's supremely talented. I don't dislike that one at all. I hate that you've turned me into a Brock Purdy defender on the show, but that's okay. That's okay. So those are your 5 bold predictions. Very interesting. Very interesting.
Which one was the craziest one? Was it the Cardinals take?
Yeah, I think so. And maybe stats wise, if you're just looking at raw data.
That's what I'm talking about. They're going to rank in the top 10 in offensive numbers by the end of the year. Total offense. Maybe
that's not crazy. Maybe.
See?
I just don't believe in them at all in any form or fashion. I think that Kyler Murray is the same size as my 4-year-old son.
Which is 2 inches shorter than Brock Purdy.
Well, I'm just saying, my son is.
You said to go get MVP vote.
My son is in the 99th percentile for height, and so he's pretty tall. So that's not a dig at you, Kyler. But yes, it is also.
Well, Kyler's definitely not in that for height. So
Man. Well, let's move. We've done our quarterback rankings and our bold predictions. Let's break down each of the divisions, and let's start with the AFC East, which contains the Patriots, Jets, Bills, and Dolphins. Doaty, how do you have that division going 1 through 4?
I got Bills winning the division. I got Dolphins getting a wild card, and Jets at 3, and then the Patriots finishing last.
Okay, we're not far off. I have the Dolphins winning the division. I think that their stable of running backs and offensive weapons just put them an inch ahead of the Bills. I have the Bills at 2nd, also getting a wild card spot. I have the Jets 3rd and the Patriots 4th. So we're pretty close there.
Yeah, we just talking about the 1 and 2 teams.
Okay.
I believe in Josh Allen. I'm real big on quarterbacks when it comes to like divisions and stuff like this. So I'm looking at these things on who I think has the better quarterback. So a lot of my opinions are shaped around that. And for instance, I believe in Josh Allen more than I believe in Tua.
Where did you have Tua, by the way, in your quarterback rankings?
He would have been below 15 for sure.
Okay, I had him at 12 or 13.
No.
I had him one spot ahead of your beloved Jalen Hurts.
No. Tua is a phenomenal, accurate passer.
You're gonna say system.
But
You're gonna say system.
Yeah, I'm gonna say system.
Well, the system is one guy named Tyreek Hill, but okay.
I agree. But,
okay.
Mike McDaniel bringing everything over from the 49ers.
He's a fun head coach. I like that guy. I like him. He's a fun head coach.
Yeah. He's more talented than Brock Purdy, if that means anything. You got Brock Purdy at 5, so
more talented than Brock Purdy. Okay, sure. You put Tua on the 49ers, and they're not as good.
I agree, but I'm not making a case for either guy.
All right.
I'm just adding content.
All right, AFC North, Doty. The Steelers, Bengals, Browns, and Ravens. How does that division shake out?
It's the best division in football. I've got Ravens winning it over my Bengals, who I got coming in at the wild card spot. Browns and Steelers, I think, is a toss-up. I picked the Steelers to go 500 at least, so I guess I have them at 3. But I don't think the Browns will be anything worse than, 17 games? I don't think they'll be any worse than 8 and 9.
Do you have the Steelers?
I think every team in that division will win at least 8 games.
Do you have the Steelers making the playoffs?
No.
Okay.
I got the Ravens as the division winner. I got the Bengals as my second wild card.
Okay. Well, we almost agree there also. I have the Ravens winning the division. I think that they have a good chance of being the number 1 overall seed in the AFC. I have the Bengals getting the wild card there, with the Browns finishing 3rd and Mike Tomlin and the Steelers at the bottom of the cellar.
I wanted to pick the Bengals because of my love for Joe and Jamar in LSU, but I couldn't pick the Ravens to not win that division.
Yeah, I agree. In the regular season, I agree, and we'll get to that.
Yeah.
In the AFC South, the Texans, Colts, Titans, and Jags, where do you see things going there?
Of course, I got the Texans winning the division. They're one of my big spots here. I got the Colts with that other wild card spot, the 3rd wild card spot in the AFC. I think Anthony Richardson was showing some good promise last year. And I know I have a thing for young quarterbacks, but I think where the NFL is going, guys who are built like Anthony Richardson, who are strong, can throw the ball and have legs, I think they're going to be huge assets when you're talking about winning games within the division. The Colts have always had a solid defense, so I think their defense is going to be solid because it always is. And I think their offense is going to take a couple steps forward. I think they drafted a guy I saw. Did they draft Adnan Mitchell, I think, out of Texas, I think?
Yeah, I think he was a Georgia transfer.
They got some more weapons for Anthony Richardson to kind of take that next step. Jonathan Taylor is one of the best 2 or 3 backs in the NFL. Their offensive line has always been really good since the crazy thing about the Colts is all they needed was an offensive line when Andrew Luck was there, and they couldn't do it for anything. And now they have like one of the best offensive lines in football. So I'm taking the Colts as my other wild card. And then I guess I'll go Jags at 3. And then, again, I'll take Trevor Lawrence over whoever Will Levis is in Tennessee, and I got them coming last.
Well, here we disagree because I do not believe in Anthony Richardson or the Colts. I have them last in their division. I think that he will be an inconsistent quarterback the entire time that he's a starter in the league.
He will. He will.
I never saw anything from him in college that would lead me to believe that he's going to be a top-tier starter in the league. I have the Jags winning the division.
Oh, my gosh.
I do. And I spent a year in Jacksonville living there, so Duval, shout out to you. I have the Texans finishing 2nd, and I think it'll be close. But I don't have the Texans making the playoffs. I think that they don't get the 3rd wild card. I have the Titans 3rd and the Colts last.
Wow. So you taking Will Levis over Anthony Richardson. I'm agreeing with your points on Anthony Richardson. I do think he will be inconsistent. The thing about Anthony Richardson is that I think his legs will make up some of that difference. So if we're in the red zone, he didn't have necessarily to make the perfect throw because they can do a 5-yard read option and he'll score.
Have you seen Will Levis run the ball?
I haven't, but I've seen Anthony Richardson running, and I'll take Anthony Richardson over Will Levis.
Anthony Richardson is a better runner, but Will Levis can move the pocket and can run the ball for first downs, and he's a much better passer.
Will Levis is probably the worst-ranked quarterback in the AFC for me, behind whoever the Raiders and Broncos have. But he will be
Bo Nix?
Probably last in my quarterback rankings out of the AFC.
Wow. Okay, we disagree there. That's fine. We disagree. Moving to the AFC West, between the Chargers, Broncos, Raiders, and Chiefs, where do you have them?
Obviously, this is the Chiefs division, like you said. I think the rest of them, honestly, can be a toss-up just based on my own kind of formula with quarterbacks. I guess I would have to pick the Chargers to finish number 2. Shouts out to Derek Ansley. Shouts out to Derek Ansley, formerly my cornerbacks coach at Huntington, who's now the defensive coordinator for the LA Chargers. So shout out to DA.
That's pretty cool.
I guess just based on talent, I will pick the Raiders, not because of their quarterback, because of Devontae Adams. Brock Bowers, I don't know who's going to throw on the ball, but I'll take Devontae Adams over Bo Nix at quarterback for the Broncos. So I got them finishing last.
I have the Chiefs winning. I have the Chargers finishing second and getting the third wild card spot.
I don't think they're going to be that good, but I won't fight you.
And then I have Bo Nix and the Broncos third.
Of course. This guy should have been first in the draft. Why they ain't winning the division?
Look, I'm not saying he's the top pick in the draft. I'm just saying from the quarterbacks out of college, who did I like the best? I liked Michael Penix number 1, and then Bo Nix and Jaden Daniels at 2 and 3, kind of even. Not a big Caleb Williams guy out of college. I can't deny the talent. I'm just saying. But I think the Broncos, I think that Bo Nix fits the system and the scheme there very well. I think that they are going to surprise a couple of teams and upset a few, but not have a winning season. I think the Raiders will be even worse, and I have them last in the division.
Just to side mark this here, if you would have had the quarterback crop of Caleb Williams, Jaden Daniels, Michael Penix, and Bo Nix, and you would have took Michael Penix and Bo Nix before Jaden Daniels and Caleb Williams, you wouldn't have a job in 3 years.
No, I have Jaden Daniels and Bo Nix tied.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Well, I still don't think you take Bo Nix before Caleb Williams.
I have to go back and listen. I think what I said on the episode is that I would pick Michael Penix and Jaden Daniels 1 and 2, and that I even liked Bo Nix out of college better than I did Caleb Williams. Not necessarily that he would be a better NFL quarterback, but who did I like more out of college? Who's more ready to play on day one? Bo Nix.
I disagree with that wholeheartedly.
Most people will. It's okay.
I don't know what you got against Caleb. Look, I'm not saying Caleb is the most likable guy. Watching Hard Knocks with the Chicago Bears, I've liked him more than I did coming out of the draft. I thought he was a little prima donna-ish. I thought he was a little California-ish. No
California cool.
But he wasn't my most liked quarterback. But watching Hard Knocks, I have grown to like him a little bit more than I did before. I just don't know how you see his talent and think that Bo Nix is better in any game format. But, we agree to disagree.
That's okay. I will stand proudly and wait to be wrong about Caleb Williams, which I may be. I'm not saying he's not going to be very good. I think in year 2 and 3 he'll be a very good NFL quarterback. I just don't think he's Patrick Mahomes Jr. I don't think he makes
Nobody is.
I don't think
the Mahomes comparison are just based off what you see with the off-platform throws. He does give you that mind frame of somebody like Mahomes.
And I know
think he's going to be Mahomes Jr. No, I don't think there's going to be another Patrick.
I know we're going to get to this in a minute, but I do not have him making his team a playoff contender in year 1. I don't believe it. So we'll see.
Okay.
Well, let's move to the NFC, Doty, and the NFC East. We've got the Giants, the Washington football team, the Cowboys, and the Eagles. How do you have things stacking up there?
I got the Eagles winning the division. I think they're the best team in the division, clearly. I don't want to have the Cowboys at 2, but I got them at 2. I don't have them making the playoffs because they're the Cowboys. I got the Commanders at 3. Sneaky good team there. I think Jaden Daniels makes them very much a competitive team this year. I'm not saying they'll win the division, but don't be surprised if you look up and the Commanders have 7 or 8 wins this year.
I could buy that.
And then the Giants are last. You said this earlier about them getting fired, the GM and all though. I watched the all season with the Giants, and I like Joe Shan, I think, is the GM. I like Joe Shan. I'm not too sure about the head coach and Danny Dimes, but I like their GM. But I think they're going to finish last. I think they're going to have the rookie of the year, Malik Neighbors, because he's just going to get a buttload of targets, and he's a productive player, so I think he's going to make the most out of those. But, yeah, Eagles, Cowboys, Commanders, Giants.
And we completely agree there. We found something we completely agree on. I have the Eagles first. I have the Cowboys finishing second. The only difference is I do have the Cowboys getting one of the 3 wild card spots and making the playoffs. I have the Washington football team. I won't call them that silly name. I think Commanders is it's a terrible name. That's a terrible name. Washington football team, which wasn't great, was better than Commanders. But anyway, I agree with you. I think they surprise some folks, sneak up on them, and then I have the Giants at the bottom of the division. So we pretty much completely agree there in the NFC East. How about the NFC North? The Packers, Bears, Vikings, and Lions. Hit us with it, Doaty.
For context, I hate the Cowboys here, so I think the Cowboys are good enough to be a wild card team. I just wouldn't pick them.
You just hate them. Just like you hate Brock Purdy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I got the Lions winning the division here. Shout out Detroit, my wife's from there. I got the Packers getting the wild card here, finishing behind them. I'm gonna take. This one's tough. By my logic, I have to take the Bears here because of Caleb Williams. But the Vikings will be a very competitive 7 to 8 win team because of Justin Jefferson Sullivan.
Who's their quarterback?
Sam Darnold. J.J. McCarthy's hurt, so it's going to be Sam Darnold. But I'm banking on Justin Jefferson being the best receiver in football.
Yeah.
I think no matter who the quarterback is, he'll make enough of an impact to have them competitive in a lot of games. They won't win a lot, but I think they're a 7-win team.
Okay, well, we're almost in agreement there, too. I have the Lions winning the division. I think that they're one of the best rosters, top to bottom, in the NFL. I think they're good on the offensive line, on defense, at receiver, at running back, at quarterback, at head coach. I don't have many questions about them. They win the division. I have the Packers finishing second and also getting a wild card spot. I have the Vikings third and the Bears finishing last.
Not bad.
Okay.
I mean, we already talked about it with Caleb. I won't fight you there on the Vikings and Bears kind of deal. I think the Bears offensively are going to be very good. I think
they could
Caleb
be.
Williams,
he's got a lot of
DJ
weapons.
Moore, Rome Odunze, Keenan Allen, Cole Kmet at tight end. I do worry about the offensive line, of course. They got DeAndre Swift at running back. The weapons around Caleb Williams are as good as any other NFL team.
They're very good.
Going to be on the offensive line.
My questions are about a rookie at quarterback. My questions are about the defense. My questions are about the offensive line and about the head coach. Those are my questions with the Bears.
And didn't they get who did they get from the Giants? The end. They got somebody on defense. I can't think of his name right now, and I just watched them on Hard Knocks.
Okay.
Defensive end they got from they got Brian Burns from the Panthers.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
I think he
that's
helps
right.
them out a ton on defense.
Yeah. Not enough to make a difference.
The Bears are going to be one of my more interesting teams to watch this year.
Okay.
Surely for Caleb, but I think they are building something. So I want to see how they perform this year. For sure.
Well, I kind of despise the fact that people who listen to this podcast are going to just their 2 takeaways are going to be that Doaty hates Brock Purdy and Wes hates Caleb Williams. And I don't hate Caleb Williams. I'm not a hater.
I think they're going to the C.J. Stroud disrespect from you is more appalling than Caleb Williams. I get Caleb Williams.
I think C.J. Stroud is the 11th best quarterback in the league.
The straight up disrespect and disregard for C.J. Stroud is what I want the tools to take away.
Okay.
And Kyler. I think there's a little Kyler disrespect, not to the degree that C.J. is, but I think there's a little disrespect for Kyler.
Well, you said the right word. Little.
Little.
Well, moving on to the NFC South, Doaty. The Bucs, the Saints, the Falcons, and the Panthers. How do you have that playing out?
The worst division in football.
Agreed.
Every team in this division is a big loser. I've got the Falcons winning, unfortunately, just because they have the better quarterback in Kirk Cousins. Hopefully they can do something with Kyle Pitts finally. A lot of people are thinking Drake London's going to have a huge year. They made a lot of moves to go all in on the defense. I think they have the best quarterback and the best offense in this division. So I'm going to go with the Falcons there. I'm going to go with the Buccaneers, probably finishing second. I believe in Mike Evans. That's solely going to be it why I picked them. The Saints are the Saints. I used to be a Saints fan. No faith in them. Not a fan of Derek Carr. I think they're going to be just like they were last year. They didn't make any moves in the offseason to improve offensively, really. So I think they're kind of a standstill. And then, of course, the Panthers are last, possibly the worst team in the NFL.
Yeah. And again, surprisingly, we completely agree. As much as we disagreed about quarterbacks, we're agreeing a lot when it comes to how the divisions play out. I have the Falcons winning the division. I have the Bucs second. I have Derek Carr, who if he was a car would be a Pinto, and the Saints finishing third. And the Panthers are just awful. They're
I
awful.
think somebody, I don't know if it's Stephen A. or one of those guys calls him Derek Used Car, and that's very fitting.
That's good. I think the Panthers are cursed for how they treated Cam Newton at the end of his career. And
really? I used to think that about the Falcons with how they did Michael Vick, but they seem to be turning around.
Yeah. And then lastly, Doty, in the NFC West, the Rams, the Cardinals, your Cardinals, the 49ers, and the Seahawks. Tell me you have the Cardinals winning the division. Go ahead and tell me.
I got 3 playoff teams out of the NFC West. 3.
Okay.
I got the Rams winning the division. No, I'm sorry. I got the 49ers winning the division.
I was about to get you.
The Rams is the wild card. Cardinals the other wild card, and Seahawks finishing last. So I got the Cardinals as a wild card.
Let me ask you a question, Doty. Who do you have winning the division?
The 49ers.
And who is their quarterback?
Nick Bosa.
Oh, okay, yeah.
I'm going with the 49ers because Nick Bosa, Christian McCaffrey, the head coach, Kyle Shanahan. I like Deebo Samuel. I like Brandon Ayuk. I love George Kittle. Trent Williams, possibly best left tackle in football. Again, the defense is phenomenal. Nick Bosa, Fred Warner. What's not to like about the 49ers except for having a legitimate quarterback?
Best roster top to bottom in the NFL, in my opinion. The 49ers.
Wholly disagree.
Who's the best roster?
Give me Detroit.
I have Detroit maybe third.
Give me Detroit and Baltimore.
Okay, I got probably top 5 rosters just off the top of my head. I've got 49ers at 1. I probably have the Eagles at 2, the Lions at 3, and the Ravens at 4. That'd be 4 of my top 5, I think.
Yeah, I'll take the Eagles, the Lions, Ravens. Then I guess maybe we could start talking about the 49ers.
Okay.
I think I'll take those 3 over the 49ers.
I'm just saying, you just named a whole lot of players off the 49ers that would be number 1 options on different teams, both on offense and defense at different positions.
Sure. I mean, they're talented, but I mean, I disagree with your take on them having a lot of number 1 options. I disagree.
Okay.
They got some good players. Christian McCaffrey obviously will be most teams' best running back. I think Brandon Ayuk's going to have to back up this contract he just got and show that he's a number 1. I think Debo's more of a Swiss Army knife than a number 1 receiver.
Kittle.
George Kittle could be a top tight end.
Bosa.
That. Everybody except for Kansas City and Detroit. I think I would take Laporta and Kelsey over him. Obviously, Nick Bosa be a top DN on every team.
Trent Williams.
Fred Warner. I like one of their corners, too. I can't think of his name, but a really good corner. Where's number 7? Their number 1 corner. I can't think of his name. I'm sure somebody will roast me in the comments or correct me in the comments. But whoever the number 1 corner is a very good corner.
Well, I have the 49ers winning the division also behind the arm of Brock Purdy. And number 2, I'm not even that big a Brock Purdy fan. You're making me do this. And number 2, I have the Rams in that division. I do not have them making the playoffs. I'm sorry. Yes, I do. I have them. I'm sorry. I got them winning the last wild card spot in the NFC. I have, as my NFC wild card teams, I have the Rams, the Packers, and the Cowboys. I have the Seahawks finishing third. And at the bottom of the division, I have your Arizona Cardinals.
Well, hey, I already told you I'm buying hard on Arizona this year. It may come back to bite me, but you gotta have a hot take in there somewhere. You can't.
You got to, and it makes the show more fun, the episode more fun. So even if I disagree with you, it's all love and it's all fun. Let's talk about this. What 2 teams do you have matching up for the Super Bowl this year?
Let me do Final 4.
Okay.
And then I'll talk through a little bit of why I came to the two teams. For my Final Four, I have the Texans versus the Bengals in the AFC. In the NFC, I have the Lions versus the Eagles. In the Super Bowl, I have the Texans versus the Lions, with the Texans winning.
You have the Texans winning the Super Bowl over the Lions.
I'm based on just what I said, man. I'm going real. I said C.J. Stroud was the third best quarterback in the NFL. I said Derek Stingley was possibly going to win Defensive Player of the Year. I mean, that's a lot of factors there. I love Stephon Diggs. I love Tank Dell in the slot. I love Joe Mixon at running back. I think their offensive line is serviceable. They added Danielle Hunter from the Minnesota Vikings, another LSU alum. You talked about how much you love D'Amico Ryans as a coach.
I do.
Him playing tough. You got him playing hard. I think they're gonna make some waves this year. So that was kind of another one of my takes, was that I think the Texans will win the Super Bowl this year.
Okay.
I think it'll be a hell of a game between them and the Lions, by the way. I think they'll be must-see TV and a very good game.
So you're not buying a Chiefs three-peat?
No. I think somebody's going to get them this year.
Okay.
And that somebody, I think, is going to be either CJ or Joe, one of those two.
I have the Super Bowl being between the Cincinnati Bengals and the Detroit Lions.
Okay, so we were right there.
Yeah.
I had Cincinnati right there in the championship game.
We start from completely different places. We come to similar results at the end. I have the Cincinnati Bengals and Joe Burrow finally getting their Super Bowl.
Yep. And trust me, it was definitely hard for me to pick CJ over Joe. Joe was obviously, again, LSU boy, so I'm always going to ride with them first. But I just really believe in C.J. Stroud. I really believe in Derek Stingley, who's going to be a playmaker and difference maker at corner this year for them. I think it's going to unlock a lot of stuff on their defense. And I like D'Amico Ryans as a coach, man. I really do.
I do too, and I believe in him.
On Texans this year.
I believe in him. I think the Texans will be competitive in the playoffs next season after they missed the playoffs this year. So,
you got a score?
I didn't go with the score. I didn't come up with a score. Do you have one for your matchup?
I didn't, but I think it'll be a very, very close game between the Texans and the Lions for me, or even the Bengals Lions. We're talking about 27-27 with the ball in somebody's hand to go down and win the Super Bowl.
Yeah,
I think it'll be close either way.
Which would be a lot of fun.
Yep.
And look, if a team like the Texans or the Bengals or the Lions, if any of one of those three teams wins the Super Bowl, the whole thing, the championship this season, I could root for that and I can get behind it either way.
Okay. As long as it's not Brock Purdy.
My guy, Brock Purdy. Well, before we close out the show tonight, Doaty, let's do this. There's two games coming up. The NFL season kicks off Thursday, then we have a game on Friday too. Let's break those two games down real quick. On Thursday night, we start off our season with the Ravens visiting the Super Bowl champion Chiefs. Who do you have winning that game?
Man, like I said earlier, to me, it's almost a must-win for Lamar. I don't think anything bad is going to happen if Lamar doesn't win. I just think he needs to get this Patrick Mahomes thing off of his back. So I'm going to take the Ravens. I'm going to take them coming out of the gate. Give me something like Ravens 24, Kansas City 21. Let's go there.
Okay, I'm going to go Ravens 27, Chiefs 13.
Oh, wow. They're going to hold them 13?
I think it's a statement game. I think the Chiefs start off a little bit rusty.
Agree. Yeah, I agree. I definitely think this is a statement game for Baltimore, for sure.
And I think Baltimore's in the position where they have to win these big games. I think Kansas City is in the position where the regular season is a challenge for them just to get up week to week. Not saying they won't win. I think they win the division. We went over that. But give me Baltimore in this one. And the spread, by the way, is Kansas City -3, so I'm taking Baltimore all day.
Yeah, I'm taking that. I mean, I kind of have them right there in the spread, 24, 21. Yeah, I'm gonna go with Lamar. I agree with you 1,000% that this should be a very serious game for the Ravens the next day.
Yeah. And then on Friday, we get more NFL action. Friday night, we have the Green Bay Packers visiting the Philadelphia Eagles. What happens there?
They're playing in another country or something?
That's the game. Is that the game in Brazil?
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah, it's in Brazil. That's right.
Interesting. So we got Jalen versus the Packers and Jordan Love.
Yep.
Let's see here. Also forgot to mention Josh Jacobs I'll be watching that ad over in Green Bay.
Oh, that's a huge pickup.
Give me Green Bay in this one. Give me Green Bay. I'll take Green Bay. Give me Green Bay 27-20.
Okay, so Green Bay in the close one. I'm going the opposite direction. I'm going Eagles 24 and Packers 21. I think that your guy Jalen, I think that he's going to have to play a lot better this season, or else there's a lot of questions that begin to be asked about him. And I think that they just have one of the best rosters in the league. I think that the Packers are a team on the ascent for sure, but I think the Eagles are just better.
No, I don't hate you there. I don't hate that pick there at all. I think the Eagles are going to. They have this weird thing where they sometimes take a minute to get going. So
True.
I think this is going to be one of those games where they don't quite look as crisp as they will later on in the season.
Yeah.
If this was in week 10, I think I maybe pick the Eagles, but I think the Packers will get them.
Okay. And I don't have much argument with that. I think both teams are pretty evenly matched, at least for the first game of the season. I can get behind that.
Yeah.
Well, Doaty, I said at the beginning of the show that if people wanted to know what was going to happen this NFL season, they needed to tune in. The problem is that we disagreed on almost all of it.
Well, I think that's what makes it fun. You don't want everything to be one-sided. That way you got a lot of stuff to pull from me, a lot of stuff to pull from you, and hopefully they meet somewhere in the middle.
And they've got to pick sides, and we'll make them do it. Will you take Doaty's quarterback rankings or mine? Will you take Brock Purdy or C.J. Stroud as number 3 overall? Are you with Kyler Murray, or do you think he's a bottom seller like I do? We'll put it all out there, and we'll see.
I expect the tools to ride with you just because it's what they should do. I don't expect anything less, but I think my quarterback picks are a lot sexier than yours.
Look, they're probably going to go with you. Look, have you heard my show? Do you see the emails that I get sometimes? Sometimes I wonder, why are you listening? I think I have a lot of hate listeners.
I have heard some of the emails that you get. I like that you do that.
Oh, yeah, I include
wish I
it.
could get more there from the Chaos family, little emails in. Maybe it's better than they email you than them not emailing me. But as long as they listen, I'm fine.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, hey, before we go, and thank you so much for giving your time and being on the show tonight. It's always fun to chop it up with you. Tell everybody where they can find your show, where they can find you on social media.
Oh, man, you can find the show anywhere where you listen to podcasts, Cerebral Chaos. Last episode I did was Top 10 Kendrick Lamar songs. So if you're into hip-hop, go check that out. Got a new episode dropping this week. I won't spill the beans. You can go follow us on Facebook at Cerebral Chaos. We're on X at God Bless Chaos. And we're on IG at Cerebral Chaos Pod.
Timothy Doaty II, always a pleasure. So much fun. Thanks for being on the show tonight.
Yes, sir. We're going to come back mid-season and see how these quarterback rankings look for sure.
Absolutely. We will. Appreciate you.
Yes, sir.
That's all for this week. You don't have to go home, but you can't stay here. I can't either. It's back in the house and out of the shed for me. Thanks again for listening to episode 78. Make sure to subscribe, like, share, and review. It really does help. If you have any paranormal experiences, opinions about sports or politics that you'd like to share, you can email the show at intheshedwithwes@gmail.com. Again, that's intheshedwithwes@gmail.com. I might even read it on air. Join our membership club at patreon.com/intheshed4. Look for us on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, iHeartRadio, Pandora, the Good Pods app, or wherever you listen to podcasts. Make sure to follow us on X at InTheShed4. And please subscribe to our YouTube channel at In the Shed with Wes Anderson 6670. Tune in again next week when we hit the headlines, talk some college football, and ask the question together, is Garth Brooks a serial killer? This has been In the Shed with Wes Anderson, the best news show in the land covering politics, sports, and the paranormal. Have an adventurous and fulfilling weekend. I'll catch you tools later. Peace out, Boy Scout. Meemaw, we made it!
We sure did.